of the contract. A contract between P and R provides that the payment for consideration of P's house will be made to R on his production of a certificate from S, an architect, to the effect that the work has been done.
Yes. So is this a contingent contract or what type of contract?
Contingent contract.
Yes. All the others, what type of contract is this?
Contingent.
Why is it contingent?
Because it is dependent on the collateral event of the certificate being produced.
Yes. It is dependent upon the collateral event and the and this collateral event is to be something which has nothing to do with the consideration exchange or the promise performed. Okay, so this certificate of S is neither the consideration nor performance of promise by either of the parties. Even then, it is dependent upon this condition. So that condition becomes a collateral event, and therefore the resulting contract is what contract? Contingent contract. Good. Okay. Yes.
A contracts to pay B rupees 5,000 if B's scooter is destroyed by fire. Can B recover the amount if his scooter is destroyed by fire?
Anjali, can you repeat once again, please?
Yes, ma'am. A contracts to pay B rupees 5,000 if B's scooter is destroyed by fire. Can B recover the amount if his scooter is destroyed by fire?
Can he recover?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because it is a contingent contract.
Yeah. So what type of contract is this, by the way?
Contingent contract.
Yeah, no, if I tell you yesterday, I gave you a few examples of contingent contract. Under which one you can put this in?
Based on happening of an event.
Yeah, that's true. But the type of contract, we told no contingent contract includes this, this, and this. I gave you a note last.
Insurance.
Yes, it is insurance. Okay. It is an insurance contract because compensating somebody for losses, we consider it to be the contract of insurance. And insurance is very much a contract of, sorry, contingent contract. So the resulting contract here is a contingent contract which is valid and therefore recoverable. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Any other question?
Yes, ma'am. There's one more question.
Yeah, just a second. I will tell who has to read the question. Okay, Mahesh, are you there? Mahesh, are you there? Maruf, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Syed?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Just 1 second. I need to just check if I can hear some more students today, okay? Veda Priya?
Yes, ma'am.
Kavya?
Yes, ma'am.
Sonak?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sheikh Jiauddin? Are you there? No. Afan? Just give me 2 minutes, okay, everybody? Hadi, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Zia Hussain?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Praharsha?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Praharsha, please read the question.
A promises to pay B a certain sum of money if a ship returns within a year. The ship is burnt within a year. Advise B.
Yeah, so what is this contract?
Contingent contract.
Yes, and the resulting contract is void or valid?
Valid.
Void.
It becomes void. Because the contract was dependent upon happening and that event is what the ship is burnt, right? So can you ever execute it? Now it became impossible for performance. So the resulting contract is what?
Void.
Void.
Just 1 second. Is the question read correctly, right? Let me read the question once, okay? You have read it correct, okay? Rarsha, you have read it correctly. Okay, I didn't hear it properly, okay? A promised to pay B a sum of money if a certain ship returns within a year. So it is dependent upon happening of an event. The ship is burnt within the year. So it is never going to come back. Correct? So impossibility of performance. So the resulting contract is what? Void. Yes, everybody. It is contingent contract, absolutely yes.
ma'am.
But the resulting contract is going to be void because impossibility of performance. Is the concept clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Ma'am,
Yes, Maro?
then there is no advice there, right? It says that A should advise B, then it's just a void contract. What will you do?
The meaning of the word advise is you just have to say whether it is enforceable in the court of law or not. So the answer is here, no. You cannot enforce it in the court of law because the resulting contract is void.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, that's the way you write the answer, okay?
Okay.
Yes. Any other doubt, anybody? Okay. So all of you, please come to your notebooks. Quasi contracts. You will write Roman number 2. Yesterday, Roman number 1 was contingent contract. Now we have Roman number 2, which we call it to be quasi contracts. Very easy part for you to understand what is quasi contract. Okay. All right. Now we have already studied about the quasi contract when we were doing the first topic, nature of contracts. Okay. There we had one of the section where we studied types of contracts. And there we came across this word of quasi contract. Can any of you here tell me what you mean by quasi contract?
A contract where there is no offer or acceptance or any kind of relation, but there is an obligation created by law.
Very good. Okay. That's the perfect answer. That means there is no contractual obligation. There is no intention. There is no consent between the parties. Even then, we have a contract coming into picture only because there has to be an operation of law amongst us. For this, a classic example to be given would be that of you losing something on the street and somebody else finds it. Now, this somebody else who has found it, is there any relationship that you share with him? No. But law has imposed an obligation on that person that, look, you have to return back the goods to the lost person, the person who has lost it. Okay. So this is something that you were not into it, but law has put a condition on you. So suppose today you find a mobile phone on the street. Okay. Or you find some cash fallen on the street. Okay. Your prima facie, your duty is going to be what? To return back the goods, find the owner and return back the goods. Okay. You have to take all possible efforts. You have to do every possible thing which a reasonable man would have done to find the true owner and then return back the goods to that person. So this thing, what you're doing, finding the true owner, is nothing but a responsibility imposed to you by law. And this imposition of responsibility or this imposition of obligation on you is called to be what? A quasi contract, where in reality, there is no contract at all. There is no intention, no willingness, no offer, no acceptance, nothing. But because law comes into picture, there is an obligation imposed on both of the parties, and therefore they come into contractual relationship. This contract created by the operation of law, we call it to be what? Contingent contract. Is the concept, sorry, quasi contract. Is it understandable, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, one very common thing that happens nowadays with us is that we do sometimes the payment through the mobile apps. Okay, like the Phone Pay, Google Pay. Okay, there are many n number of apps are now working. Sometimes just because of inserting one wrong number, okay, one wrong number that you insert, the amount gets credited to a wrong person. Okay, nowadays it has become very rare because after you dial the number, you have the username also coming in. So you reconfirm it, that is your name or not. But then earlier when it was new, this reconfirmation with the name used to not come. So you need to have the number with you. And on that number, you had to actually send it. Okay. So what happens sometimes is you wrongly credit somebody else's account with just one number, 4 becoming 5, 4 becoming 8, 2 becoming 222. It goes to a wrong person. Now that wrong person, actually, if you see, you don't even know that person. But law has imposed an obligation on that person that he has to refund back the entire amount which he has wrongly received from you. Correct, everybody? So this contractual obligation which has been entrusted on that person, which has been put on that person, is resulting from what contract? Quasi-contract. Okay? That means you and that other person who didn't even know each other, there is no relationship that you have made no offer, there has been no acceptance, basically no promise, no agreement. Even then, because the law comes into picture, you people have some kind of obligation which is contractual, okay, and you are legally obliged to each other. So this will be called as a quasi-contract, a very much valid contract, enforceable in the court of law. Is the concept understandable, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes. So all of you under quasi-contract, write point number 1. Every valid contract must contain certain essential elements, like offer, comma, acceptance, consideration, etc. Second point. However, comma, sometimes the law implies a promise imposing obligation, implies a promise imposing obligations
Ma'am, a promise.
imposing obligation on one party and conferring right for one party. Obligation means for other parties would be right. Obviously, for one it is asset, the other it is liability. Imposing obligation on one party and conferring a right in favor of the other. Comma, without the presence of essential elements. Without the presence of essential elements.
Ma'am, repeat.
Without the presence of essential elements. Full stop. Such contracts are called as quasi-contracts. Third point. Quasi-contract can be defined as fictional contractual obligation, can be defined as a fictional contractual obligation created by law created by law in certain circumstances. Next point. Quasi contracts are based on the principle of okay, you will answer me this. Okay. Now in India, why do we have the courts, court of law? Why do we have this?
Justice.
To provide justice. Then one is to provide justice. Then
Listen to
to
both the
provide,
parties.
yes,
To listen to both the parties, ma'am.
I
The
cannot hear you.
plaintiff and the defendant.
Okay, that means to listen to both the parties, that is to maintain equality. Correct? And why is the law imposing on you this any kind of, that you have to return back the goods and all of that? Tell me,
Ma'am.
if you're a good person, only then you'll think about returning back the goods. And if you're a bad person, wrong intention, will you even think about returning back the goods?
No, ma'am.
No.
No,
So
ma'am.
what do you say? If suppose you're a good person, that means you have a good?
Citizen. Good
Yes.
thinking.
Good thinking. Okay. Could you say even better word for it? Your
Intention.
inner voice is telling you to do it good. What is that inner voice called as?
Intention.
Conscience.
Very good. Conscious. Okay. So what is this entire quasi contract? Quasi contracts are based on the principle of justice, equality, and good conscience. Okay. That means it is just to bring the good conscience in you. Okay. So that you return back the goods wherever something does not belong to you, you get it. You have the contractual obligation to return back. This is just to promote what? Good conscience. Do not cheat the other person because of his mistake. Okay. So all of you, right? A quasi contract is based on the principle of equity, justice.
May you repeat?
Quasi contracts are based on the principles of equity, justice, and good conscience. Okay. There is one very interesting maxim in the sense a proverb kind of thing, or a statement that is used for a quasi contract. The sentence is, no man can grow rich out of another person's loss. That means if suppose Neha loses a purse on the street, which has 10,000 rupees, if I get her purse, I cannot become rich by the amount which Neha has lost. That is the principle of quasi contract. Therefore, the law will impose an obligation on me that if I find her purse on the street, I have the obligation of returning it back to her. Because the maxim is what? No man can become richer because of somebody else's loss. Is the concept understandable, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Please come down and write the next point. This contract rests upon the maxim. This contract rests upon the maxim. Maxim is like a saying, proverb, okay, or the main principle. Open inverted commas. No man must grow rich. No man must grow rich out of another person's loss. No man must grow rich out of another person's loss. Okay, write one example there. A pays some money to B by mistake. Full stop. Such money is really due to C. Such money is really due to C. Full stop. Therefore, due to the obligation imposed by law, in the bracket, that is quasi-contract, B must refund the money to A. Okay. Now come down, write the next heading. Salient features of quasi-contracts.
Ma'am, which features?
Salient, important, okay? S-A-L-I-E-N-T. Salient, okay? That means important features of a quasi-contract. Okay? Usually it so happens that quasi-contract has some involvement of right to money. Okay? Or it could be something which is a liquidated damages. Liquidated damages as in converted into money and you have to get it back. Okay, that is called as what? A right to receive it back. Because in quasi-contract, what happens is it all happens because of mistake. It all happens because of law imposing an obligation. So it is usually connected with money or some kind of, liquidated damages. That means either maybe if it is some commodity and there's a damage you make for it, then you pay for it. Okay, that is an obligation created to you by law. If you don't return back the goods, or maybe if you are using the goods without the person's knowledge, then you have to reimburse back everything. So these are all impositions made by you, made on you by law. Okay, so the first salient feature is it is basically connected with right to money. Okay, money or liquidated damages. What is liquidated damages? After some time, I'll teach you about those transactions which are quasi-contracts in nature. Okay, then you'll understand what you mean by the word liquidated damages. So all of you write the first salient feature. Such a right is always a right to money, and generally,
Can you repeat, ma'am, please?
such right is always a right to money and generally to a liquidated sum of money. To a liquidated sum of money. Okay, now the second important feature of quasi-contract is, tell me, is there an agreement between the parties?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Does the contract come into picture?
No.
How does it come into picture?
By law.
Due to legal obligation.
Yes.
By legal
imposed by
obligation.
law. Yes. So write the second one. It does not arise from any agreement. But is imposed by law.
Could you please repeat it, ma'am, please?
It does not arise from any agreement, but is imposed by law. Now tell me, in a quasi contract, can you have this concept like a general offer against anybody? You can enforce it?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
No, because quasi contract law will impose between two parties. So this can be enforceable amongst the clearly defined people. It cannot be enforced against the world. Okay, these two parties will be clearly identified by whom? Law. Okay, so the enforceability will be only amongst the parties. It will not be against the whole world. Otherwise, in the normal contract, can you place a general offer?
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you? Yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Anybody can come and exercise, right? But here it is not going to be like that. Here both the parties will be prefixed, predefined, and it can be exercised only against each other and not against the world. Okay. So the last essential element would be, it is a right which is not available it is a right which is not available against the whole world. But available only against a particular person.
Ma'am, can you repeat it from starting?
It is a right which is not available against the whole world, but is available only against a particular person. Okay, everybody? All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, all of you come to the next main heading, the most important part of this topic. Okay, that is cases which are deemed to be quasi contracts. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to study 5 different scenarios. In this 5 different scenarios, the resulting contracts will be quasi contracts. Okay, so we call these cases to be what? Deemed quasi contract. Deemed means assumed to be quasi contracts. So they are being imposed by what? Law. Okay, so we are going to study 5 different categories in the examination, extremely important. Okay, so write the next heading as cases deemed. Cases deemed as quasi contracts. Cases deemed as quasi contracts. Branch into 5 parts. First part, claims for necessities supplied. Claims for necessaries supplied. Second, payment by an interested person. Payment by an interested person. Third, obligation of a person enjoying benefits of a non-gratuitous act. Fourth, responsibility of finder of goods. Last, money paid by mistake or under coercion. Okay, everybody? Now, let us take one by one and try to understand it. Okay? So come down, write the first one, claim for necessaries. Supplied to, claims for necessaries supplied to persons incapable of contracting. So who are the persons incapable of contracting?
Minor.
Unsound mind
Minor.
Unsound
and
mind.
disqualified by law.
Yes, an unsound person, right? Okay, now we have already studied that when a minor is been provided with all the necessaries that are required for his regular survival, then the person who is giving him this necessity or supplying such necessaries to him will be eligible to claim such money from minor's property.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Correct?
ma'am.
Yes,
From the
ma'am.
minor's property, he can claim for such expenses, right? Now this from where it has come? Yes, from where this provision has come? By quasi-contract. Because here, law is telling you very clearly. See, there cannot be a contract because the other party is minor. So there is no contract basically between you and the minor. But now here, who is coming into picture? Law is coming into picture and telling you that, look, you have the right to get reimbursed with all the expenses that you have spent on the necessities of the minor. Okay, from the minor's property, you can take all the money that you have spent for his necessities. Okay, now this is coming from where? Law. Therefore, it is what type of contract?
Quasi-contract.
Quasi-contract. Is the concept understandable?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Please write under that. If a person incapable of contracting is supplied by another person with necessaries suited to his condition in life,
Ma'am, please repeat it, ma'am.
is supplied by another person with necessaries suited to his condition in life, suited to his condition in life, then such person is entitled to be reimbursed from the property of such incapable person. From the property of such incapable person. From the property of such incapable person. Easy, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I will give you one example. Tell me whether recovery can happen or not. Okay, there is a land, okay, which B is holding it. Okay, B is the owner of a land. Okay, and B is holding it like a lease. He's taken on rent. Okay, and the owner of the land is A. The owner of the land is A, and who is holding it? B, on lease. Lease means rental. Okay, now A has to pay some taxes to the government with respect to the land. A has to pay some ownership taxes, property taxes to the government with respect to the land owned by him, which is being used by B. Okay, but A does not pay taxes to the government. So the government, what they do is, in order to recover the land revenue, in order to recover the taxes on the land, they will give a notice to Mr. A telling that you either pay the money or will sell your property. And that comes in the newspaper. There is a notice circulated in the newspaper that there is going to be a sale of this property. Now tell me, who is the owner of this land?
A.
Who is using the land?
B.
Maybe B is doing business on this land. B is doing business on this land, which is taken on rent. Now the government says they are going to seize the property. So actually, who will be at loss here?
B.
B. So will B not be interested in this situation?
He is interested.
So what B says, look, A, I want this property because I'm already running my business here. I will pay the entire tax to the government now. I will pay all the tax that you have to pay to the government now. So will B have the right to reimburse or get reimbursed with this amount of tax paid on behalf of A?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, everybody?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
To get the concept, I'll tell you once again for all those who didn't get it. Property is of A, which is used by B. B pays rent on the property to A. This property which belongs to A has some taxes due on it. Because A is not paying the taxes, government wants to seize the property. But on this property, the business has been run by B. So ultimately, the actual loss of business will be of the B. So what B says to A, that look, I want to protect my business. So I will pay the taxes to the government. Temporarily, I'll pay the taxes to the government and save your land. Okay. Now tell me, will B have the right to recover the amount of tax paid to the government from A?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Because B is here an interested person. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And therefore, the second branch, payment by an interested person. So any person who's interested in a particular transaction makes the payment on behalf of somebody else, then he will have the right to recover that money from the other party. Because here the real liability is not of B. The real liability was of whom? A. B only paid for the benefit. And then he has the right to recover it from whom? A. Is the concept understandable, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
And all
ma'am.
of you, please write the next one, payment by interested person. The next side heading is payment by interested person. A person who has paid the money, a person who has paid a sum of money which another person is obliged to pay, which another person is obliged to pay, is entitled to be reimbursed by the other person in capital letters, provided payment has been made to protect his own interest. Understandable, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now tell me, I have gone to meet Nisha at her place. Okay, so I went to Nisha's house and I had my laptop along with me. By mistake, I left my laptop at Nisha's place. Okay, what Nisha did, without asking me, without my permission, she used my laptop. She used my laptop. Tell me, here, did I intentionally leave my laptop for Nisha to use? Or should Nisha actually return back the laptop to me?
Nisha should
Return back.
She has to return back the laptop to me. Why? Because I did not keep it there for her. I forgot it there by mistake. I left it there by mistake. So as per the normal understandability, okay, with good conscience, Nisha had to actually return back my laptop to me the way I had kept it there. She has actually not even open it. Okay, the way I kept it there, in the same manner, she had to return it to me. Okay, now, one more example here would be that, suppose I saved, maybe there's some sudden fire happened and I saved Mr. B. In that instantaneous moment, fire took place and I saved Mr. B. Tell me here, will I be entitled to claim compensation from Mr. B for that?
No,
Yes.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, now, yes or no? First of all, let's finalize on that.
No.
If I save you
ma'am.
instantaneously, will I be having the right to receive compensation for it?
No.
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 See, you will get compensation when the other person had told you, save me. Here, you yourself went and saved. Do you have a right to receive compensation?
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
Okay.
No,
Now,
ma'am.
in the first one, was my act gratuitous or non-gratuitous? Gratuitous means what? Freely doing it. Non-gratuitous means I didn't mean to do that. Okay, there is some kind of interest I'm expecting. So when I left my laptop, did I leave it for Nisha to be using it or did I keep it by mistake?
By mistake.
So was it gratuitous or non-gratuitous?
Non-gratuitous.
Not gratuitous.
So in case of non-gratuitous, will I be having the right to receive back it?
Yes.
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 In the second example, when I saved you from fire, was it gratuitous or non-gratuitous?
Gratuitous.
Gratuitous. So will I have the right of recovering it?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So which is quasi? First one, second one.
First one.
First one.
First one.
Here, everybody.
Yes.
Did you got it right, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, only when the benefits have been enjoyed for a non-gratuitous act, only then I have a right to claim compensation. Clear, everybody? Okay, now, for example, suppose in Nisha's house, I had kept my laptop with the intention of telling her that you can use it for a day. In that case, if Nisha uses it, is there any obligation that she has to return it back to me within the 24 hours?
No.
No, because that was gratuitous. I told her. But if I do it by mistake, okay, like for example, suppose one more thing could be the Amazon salesperson by mistake left the parcel at your place. Can you use it?
No, ma'am.
No. But my parcel, if suppose my flat number and your flat number has only 1 digit difference, by mistake he dropped my parcel at your place. Will you have the right to use that parcel?
No, ma'am.
No, because non-gratuitous. Are you understanding? So you cannot enjoy the benefit, and if you enjoy the benefit, you have to repay back the benefit. Are you understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all of you write the third one. Obligation of person. Obligation of person enjoying the benefits of non-gratuitous act. Okay, under that, where a person lawfully does anything for another person, where a person lawfully does anything for another person or delivers anything to the other person or delivers anything to the other person without the intention of doing gratuitously, without the intention of doing gratuitously, then the person enjoying the benefit, is bound to pay compensation or to restore the thing delivered. To restore the thing delivered.
Ma'am, can you repeat from benefit?
And such other person enjoys the benefit, then he is bound to pay compensation or restore the thing delivered. Simple, everybody? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All of you in your books write case study. Shamlal versus state of UP. Shamlal, SHYAM. Shamlal versus state of UP. In the bracket, you can write refer textbook. So this you can take as a homework. Okay, you can just have one reading of this case study, very simple to understand. And if you don't follow it, if time permits, I'll only do it in the class at the end. If not, you can take it as a homework. If you don't understand, I'll explain in the next class. Okay, everybody?
Ma'am, can you repeat what you said? Because of network issue, I could not hear anything.
Case law, Shamlal versus state of UP. Okay, this you'll have to do it as a homework. It is there in your material. Just have one reading of it. You will understand. If you don't understand, I'll explain it to you. Okay, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, tell me if there is any lost good, okay, and you find it. Let me tell you an example. Okay, maybe you are a Kirana store person. Okay, you are a vendor. You are selling grocery. I come to you and I take a lot of grocery from you. By mistake, I left 10 kgs of rice, a proper bag of 10 kgs of rice at your store. By mistake, I left it there. Okay. And you realized after I leave that I left it there. Okay. Now, as a normal person or as the imposition of law on you, what you will do? You have to return back the goods to me. Correct? Now, this 10 kg of rice, maybe you do not know my address. So what you will do as a prudent businessman, what will you do?
Keep it aside to give the money.
Very good. You will keep aside. That means you are not going to mix it again back with your original products. You will not appropriate it. Are you understanding? You will keep it aside. Correct, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Second, suppose it is pouring very heavily, raining very, very heavily. Will you keep it inside or will you keep it the way I left it there only?
Keep it inside. Keep inside.
Why will you keep it inside?
See that no damage is done.
Damage of property.
Damage.
Yeah, because a reasonable person, a reasonable man would have taken a reasonable care of the product, which is not to be damaged. Are you understanding? So even if you're a finder of the lost goods, you have certain responsibilities imposed to you by law that you will take reasonable care of the goods. Okay? You are not going to appropriate the goods. And you have to restore back the goods to the true owner. That means maybe in this case, you do not know who the owner was. You cannot trace him because you do not know about him. So at least you should wait for him to return. And that person definitely after reaching home will realize, right, that he's not got the 10 kg rice. So he'll come and pick it up. So when he comes to pick up, can you say I appropriated the rice? No.
No.
You have to return back it. So there are three important things that you have to do being a finder of lost goods. First thing is you have to take the reasonable care, a proper care of goods. Okay. Second, you cannot appropriate the goods. Do not use the goods. I'll take the rice home. Can you do that? No.
No.
Third, you should be very sure that you restore back the goods to the original user, to the true owner. Okay. Now, tell me if suppose it was perishable items like egg, okay, corianders, or maybe leafy vegetables, all of those, which have a very short life. So these are perishable. So how long are you going to wait for it?
Reasonable time, up to
Reasonable time. Okay. That you cannot use, okay, or you cannot appropriate until a reasonable time only. Do not let it completely destroy. Because after 10 days, if they come and pick it from you, what are you going to give them? There'll be nothing. So in those items where they're perishable or there is a chance of its life to be over, there we can think of appropriation. But other ways, have we the right of appropriating it? Have we the right?
No.
No, ma'am.
And that also
No, ma'am.
cannot be appropriated immediately. Huh? Like immediately you find it, immediately you use it. As if there is no other vegetable in the house. That cannot be done. You have to wait for a reasonable time. And even within reasonable hour, you're not able to wait and people are not coming and collecting, then you can appropriate. Otherwise, you will not. Is the concept clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So all of you, please write the next one. Responsibility of finder of goods. Okay. Do you remember the name which I told you? The finder of lost good will be called as what? Do you remember? I'd given you once the word. The finder of lost goods is also called as a it starts from B.
Bailey.
Very good. Bailey. Okay. The owner of the goods will be called as bailer. And the person who finds it will be called as what? Bailey. So Bailey is the true owner or not?
No.
Is Bailey a true owner? No.
No, ma'am.
He has the obligation of returning back the goods to whom?
Bailor.
Bailor. Okay. So right there. A person who finds the goods belonging to the other, a person who finds the goods belonging to another shall hold him like a Bailey. Shall hold the goods like a Bailey. Come down. The finder of lost goods has the following responsibilities.
Ma'am, lost goods.
The finder of lost goods has the following responsibilities. Branch into 3 parts. First, take proper care of the property. Take proper care of the property. As a man of ordinary prudence would do. As a man of ordinary prudence would take. Second, no right to appropriate the goods. No right to appropriate the goods. Last, you're writing now third branch, right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
To restore the goods, if the owner is found. Okay, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Okay. Now tell me, if I have found something, okay? If I found something, so who is the founder of the lost goods?
Ma'am, you will be the founder.
You, ma'am.
I will be, right? So I am the Bailey. So in quasi contract, I will have the right and the other party will be the true owner. Correct? So the contract is
Yes,
entered into
ma'am.
between whom? True owner and the finder of the lost goods. Okay. Now, imagine there is a diamond which is fallen on the floor. What happened was, I picked up the diamond. So I am the finder. I went and gave it to Anjali. I went and gave it to Anjali and told that we have to find the true owner. We searched a lot and lot and lot, and we could not find the true owner. But now Anjali is having the diamond with her. I go to Anjali and tell, look, enough of time is over now. We have waited for a lot of time. The person is not coming forward. Okay. So now please return back the diamond to me. Okay. Now in this case, can Anjali say no to me for returning back the diamond?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
She must return or she cannot return?
You must return it.
She must return.
Return. You know why she must return? Because quasi-contract is a legal obligation made between the two parties, not against the whole world. Okay. So here the true parties are going to be only two, the true owner and the finder of the lost goods. The other person, Anjali here, will have nothing to do here. So she has to return back the diamond to whom? Me. Then what I do with it will depend upon the situation. Is the concept understandable, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So all of you in your books, right? Case law. Collins versus Haller. It is Haller, LR and HL. Okay, H capital, L capital. Haller, LR and HL. Collins versus Haller, LR and HL. Okay. Facts of the case. H picked up a diamond on the floor of F's shop. F's shop. And handed over the same to F and handed over the same to F to keep till the owner was found.
Ma'am, can you please repeat the point?
Yes. H picked up a diamond on the floor of F's shop and handed over the same to F to keep till the owner was found. Next point. In spite of the best efforts, the true owner could not be found. After some weeks, next point, after some weeks, H requested F requested F to return back the diamond ring. To return back the diamond, you can write. To return back the diamond. Next point, F refused to return back. Decision of the court. It was held that F must return the diamond to H as he was entitled to retain the goods found against everybody except the true owner. Against everybody except the true owner. That means only when the true owner will ask, he will give it back. Otherwise, he can retain it. Nobody else can take it from him except for the true owner. Except the true owner. Concept clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now, last one. I will give you an example. You tell me this. Okay. Now, maybe me and Maruf together owe some money to Abraham. Okay. Maybe it is 400 rupees that we owe to Abraham. Okay. So 200 I should give. Maruf has to give 200 rupees. Okay. Now, one fine day, what happened? Maruf went to Abraham and paid the entire amount of 400. Okay. And Abraham understood that the payment is made on behalf of me as well as Maruf. Okay. But Maruf did not inform me. There was a miscommunication between us and he did not inform me. So what I did, next day, I went and paid my 200 rupees also to Abraham. Abraham took it. Abraham took the money. So how much we both actually owed? 400. But how much did he actually get it?
600.
Don't you think Abraham has to refund back my money?
He has to.
Because that is the money that he has taken. Is it lawfully acceptable by him?
No.
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 Is it a mistake by him?
No,
Yes.
ma'am, he did that by intention. He did it intentionally, right?
That's what. But is it coming to him unlawfully?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So will law impose obligation on him to return back that money to me?
Yes, ma'am.
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 So what type of this thing it is? The person who receives the money under mistake or coercion has to return back the benefit which they have derived. Okay. Why coercion here? Because suppose if I keep, Abraham keeps me at the gunpoint and recovers 200 from me. Okay. And I pay 200 in that pressure. Don't you think I have the right to recover it back?
You have.
Yes. That's what? Quasi contract. Is the concept understandable, everybody?
Yes,
ma'am.
Right, the last one. Money paid by mistake or under coercion. You know, this you do very usually it happens nowadays with Amazon and all. By mistake, somebody else's parcel has come at your place. So you yourself go and give the parcel to the right person, right? You don't even know quasi contract is going on, but actually it is quasi. You don't even know that actually you're entering into contract. But law has imposed on you, and therefore by mistake you receive the parcel. You will go and give it to the right person without even knowing that it's actually been operated by law on you. Will you ever open and use the phone which is there inside that parcel? Can you do that?
No, ma'am.
No. You have the obligation to return back. That's the same thing here. Okay. So money paid by mistake or under coercion. Under that, a person to whom money has been paid, a person to whom money has been paid or anything delivered by mistake must repay or return it. Must repay or return it. Simple, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was all with respect to quasi contracts. Simple. Any doubt here?
No.
No. Okay. Now, can you tell me what is the basic difference between a quasi contract and a regular contract?
Absence of agreement.
Okay, that means the essential elements are present in a regular contract, but essential elements are not present in a quasi contract. Very good. One more.
Obligation.
Very good. Quasi contract comes by the imposition of law, whereas contract is come by the willingness of both the parties, consent of both the parties. Clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
So there are only two differences between a contract and a quasi contract. Simple? Okay. Now we finish the topic of quasi contract and contingent contract. I will share the screen with you, and we are now going to do the MCQs together. Are you all with me?
Yes.
Yes,
ma'am.
All those who have the textbook, please open the textbook. Those who don't have, please look at the screen. Okay. Can you look at the screen, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
All right, all of you, I want the answers coming from everyone, and I want multiple voices to be heard. I don't want one or two students only to reply to all the queries. Okay. Get started. The first one. A contract dependent upon the happening or not happening of future uncertain event is.
Contingent
Contingent
Contingent contract.
A contingent contract is
Valid.
good. A contingent contract dependent upon happening of a future uncertain event can be enforced when the event
Happens.
Happens.
good. A agrees to pay 1 lakh to B if he brings on earth a star from the sky. This contingent contract is
Void.
Void.
Impossible.
very good. Impossibility of performance. Very good. Which of the following is not a contingent contract?
A, ma'am.
Because here, repairing the scooter is a part of performance of the contract. And performance of contract cannot be considered to be a collateral event. And therefore, it will not be considered to be a contingent contract. Was the same thinking in your mind also?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Which of the following statements regarding quasi contracts are incorrect? It resembles a contract.
True, ma'am.
Yes.
It's imposed by law.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
True,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Based on the doctrine of unjust enrichment.
False,
Unjust
false.
enrichment means purposefully making somebody rich. Like, we say no man should be entitled to more richness because of somebody else's stolen property. So true. Third one is,
No, ma'am.
Yes.
No, ma'am.
what is true? Unjust enrichment.
Yes, ma'am, it is true.
It is true. Quasi
Yes.
contract. Why are we having it? Because we don't want people to unjustly become rich. There should not be injustice. Clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes,
It is voluntarily created.
false, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
So which is the answer?
D.
D.
Okay. For a contingent contract, the event must be
Uncertain.
Uncertain.
Certain.
uncertain and collateral. Good.
Collateral.
Which one of the following is not a characteristic of a contingent contract?
There must be reciprocal promises.
Very good. There must be reciprocal
ma'am.
promises. Okay, the answer is D. Good. Wagering contracts are
Void.
Void.
a contract of insurance is
Contingent contract.
Contingent
contingent contract. Good. Finder of goods should take care of goods as
Daily.
good. A Swiggy man wrongly delivered the food to Mr. Ishan. Ishan, who took the delivery, ate the food immediately. Wow. The Swiggy boy returned soon once he got information about wrong delivery. Ishan should make the payment as his case is deemed to be quasi-contract under
Obligation of person enjoying the
Obligation of-
Obligation of the
benefit.
So you got the concept, how it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
He ate the food immediately. We have to reasonably wait even if it is perishable, right? We understand food is perishable, but you cannot hog on it immediately. Wait for a reasonable time. Okay, at least give some time for the person to realize that it is wrong. Immediately, if it comes at your door, if you eat it, then it is not going to be a sensible person. We say it should be taken care of like a reasonable man, at least prudent man. Okay, if you eat it like that, insensible. Okay, so that will not be allowed. Is it understandable, everybody?
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Now in descriptive questions, there are 3 questions given to you. All the 3 questions will be your homework. Okay, everybody?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You are going to not read the material. You're going to frame the answer by yourself and write it by yourself. Clear, everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
and yeah, please take one practical question today, which I give you for homework. Please open your homework notebook and take the practical question. Z rent out his house Z rent out his house situated in Mumbai to W for a rent of rupees 10,000 per month. For a rent of rupees 10,000 per month. Full stop. A sum of rupees 5 lakh was payable as a house tax, was payable by a house as a house tax by Z which were in arrears, which were in arrears.
Ma'am, can you repeat the sentence?
Yes. A sum of rupees 5 lakh, which was house tax payable by Z, which were in arrears. Arrears means you have not paid. Arrears, comma. Therefore, his house was advertised for sale. Therefore, his house was advertised for sale. W paid the sum due by Z, the sum due by Z to avoid legal consequences.
To avoid
Legal consequences. To avoid legal consequences. Full stop. Decide whether W is entitled to get the reimbursement of the amount paid. To get the reimbursement of the amount paid. Okay, so this will be your homework, which I'll be checking tomorrow. And tomorrow we are going to start with performance of a contract. Okay, a very important topic, very interesting, pretty easy also. Okay, so we'll start that topic from tomorrow onwards. It will take a week's time for us to complete it. Okay, all right, everybody. Any doubt from today's class?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
That is it.
No,
for
ma'am.
today. Thank you and have a good day, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
No, ma'am.